For today's video, we're going to be working on a household expenses dataset. So the link for this particular dataset will be in the description below. So I already have Microsoft SQL Server Management Studio open. You can go ahead and just open that. So first thing we're going to do is create our database. So I'm going to come over to databases and I'm going to right click and I'm going to create a new database, and I'm going to name this household expenses. You can just leave it at expenses, but I'm going to make it 2 because I already have another one with the same name. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that. Now go over to databases and expand it, and you can select your database. So let me just create a new query so we can have a tab open. So select household expenses. For me it's 2, your own, whatever you name that, just select it. Right click and we're going to go to tasks and we're going to import a flat file. I'm just going to reduce the size of this. So go to specify input file and then we're going to browse, and I'm going to select the data set and I'm going to just remove this space, so I will just have it as household expenses like this. Now we're going to preview the data, so we just have dates, months, category, subcategory, and yeah, this is the preview of our data. We're going to go to modify columns and we're not going to change anything, everything stays the same, and we can go to next and we can finish, and there you go, we have our data. Now let's take a look at our data. Just make sure that over here you selected the correct database, and I'm just going to, let's select all from, let's specify the name of our table, which is household expenses, and I'm going to run this query using F5, and this is our data. So our data was successfully imported. So in this query you see that we have this error line, this red line. So if you want to remove it, all we need to do is just refresh. So Control Shift and R, and you give that a moment and it should refresh and you won't have that red line. Let's check the number of transactions in this, or the number of records in this, or number of transactions or records in this data set. So I'm just going to number of records, and we're going to do a count of our data set. So I'm going to count, and this is going to be as do we have any transactions table? So no, so I can just, or we could just use, let me see, records. Make a number of records, number of records from household expenses, and we will just run this query using F5. So we have 2000 entries in this particular data set. Next, let's look at the total income versus total expenses. So this will be income versus expenses. So we're going to select, since income and expense are in the same column, we're just going to extract them, take their sum, and then subtract total expense from total income. So I'm just going to, we're going to first start with round, and we're going to get the sum, and then we're going to use the case to extract all our income. So when type is equal to income, then amount else 0, and then we're just going to end this condition. We're going to round our results down to 2 decimal places, and we're going to provide this particular query as total income. And what I'm going to do is just select this entire thing, and I'm going to paste that this is going to be expense, and we're going to change this to total expenses. Now we're going to do our subtraction to get the difference. We're going to leave this as it is, remove this, and this time we're also going to do expense here again, and this time when whatever is left over after you have an income, then you have an expense, whatever is left over could be a savings, so we're going to make it savings. So we're going to get our results as savings, and then we're going to reference our table, which is the household expense table, and I'm going to run this query. So this is our total income. Our total income is $1.4 million, and expenses is just 316. So total savings about $1,090,000. Wow, that's actually incredible numbers, but this is not a real data set, it's just generated. But yeah, that's the total savings, income versus savings for this particular data set. So what if we want to take a look at monthly expenses and not just the total for our entire data set? So let's just copy the entire thing. Oops, wrong. I'm going to copy this and I'm going to paste. So this is going to be monthly income versus expenses. So just here, I'm going to come here, and this time we're going to specify month. Since month is a separate column on its own, I'm just going to specify months here, and you can change this to monthly income. Let's just keep it simple so that we don't have to do too much. And here I'm just going to I'm going to group by months, and we are going to order by, let's use date parts. We're going to use month, and we're going to use the minimum date, that's the starting date based on this particular data set. And let me run this query. So this is our data set from January to December. So our income for January is $141,000, and the expense is just $24,000, and total savings is $117,318, and it just goes on for. So if you want to take a look at each individual month, there's no negative, so at least for this particular set, the income is always higher than expense. So if it was the other way around, maybe we would have had negative values, but for this particular data set, it's balanced. Next up, let's look at the total spending by category. So I'm going to, let's say total spending by category, and let's select the category column, we're going to get the sum. I'm going to round it down. First, let's do sum, and we're going to add amounts here, and our result will be in 2 decimal places as, let's say, total spending, and this is, we're going to reference our table, which is going to be the household expenses table, and then we'll set our condition where type is equal to expenses, expense, not expenses, and we're going to group by category, and we're going to order by the total spending in descending order so we can see from highest to lowest. Okay, so I'm just going to run this. So we have rent and utilities has the highest in terms of expenses, then groceries, education, healthcare, transportation, entertainment, and finally miscellaneous. And yeah, this is a breakdown of the total spending of our data sets. Now let's do this exact same query, but this time we're going to do it for subcategory. So I'm just going to copy this entire thing and I'm going to paste it. So this will be subcategory, and here I'm going to change this to this will be subcategory, and I'm going to change this to as well to subcategory. I think this should be correct. If there's any error, we'll see it. So I'm just going to run this. So this is the breakdown of our expenses by subcategory, where we have rent, electricity. There's much more this time. There it's in different subcategories, so you could just take a moment to look at it. But yeah, that's the breakdown by subcategory. We can still perform another query with, by just modifying this one. So let's just go ahead and do that. So let's look at how different payment methods are used in the expenses, of course, because when you're making expenses, you're going to use different payment methods. So I'm just going to paste it again, but this time this will be by payment method, and we're going to change this to payment method. We're also going to change this to payment method as well. So I think I have that right. If we need to change anything, we will, but let's run this. So mobile payment is the highest, followed by cash, card, and then finally we have bank transfer. So let's run a few more queries with this same one. So this dataset is quite straightforward. What comes in, what goes out, and what's left. So let's run another query using the same one. Let's say this is going to be total spending by household member. And we are going to change this category to household member, and we're going to change this also to household member, and we'll run this query. So we have both has the highest total spending, then Mary comes next, then John, I think there's just a 6,000. There's whether it's just there's a 6,000 difference between John and Mary, but in general, both of them tend to spend the highest. Let's just do one more. This is just going to be let's look at the income source. So let's do income sources, and we're going to select and we're going to do income source, and we're going to change this to income source so we can see the breakdown of where this type of expense, this type comes from. So this is going to, we're going to change this to income, and let's also change this to total income, and I'm just going to run this. Oops, oh, it's not I didn't change this one. It's supposed to be total income. Run this. Okay, so wow, that's interesting. For a data set that has this really high income, you don't see, again, this is not a real data set, so it's not reflective of reality, but freelancing has the highest income. Salary comes next, investment, and then finally we have gifts and bonuses as the last one. Okay, well, that's it for this particular video. I hope you learned something new. If you did and you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.